Hey everybody, this is Perch, and we have the breaking news of Batman meets Game of Thrones. It's an upcoming fantasy comic, Dark Knights of Steel, and it's being written by Tom Taylor. And basically, this comic takes the question: what happens if the lights went out in the Marvel universe and the entire superheroes as we know it are plunged into a kind of darker fantasy type round. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry, that's Marvel Dark Ages. Sorry, this is DC. This is Tom Taylor, and it's imagine a different world of darkness and fantasy. So I don't mean to kid. Tom Taylor, hey, big credit to him. He's basically got two limited series going with Marvel and DC that has a similar premise. And before anybody jumps on that, I'm sure that the series will play out differently. I'm absolutely I am saying it was sarcastically and in some jest that at least the elevator pitch for both these books feel remarkably similar. The DC version appears to be leaning more into medieval fantasy, where you're basically going to get. Yeah, remember Neil Gaiman did that 1682, where the Marvel characters were kind of in medieval times. It's that. A spaceship crash lands from a doomed planet. But this is Superman and Wonder Woman, Harley Quinn, Black Lightning. By the way, as an aside, I was having this conversation with somebody yesterday, and they were talking about Suicide Squad and why it was struggling. And one of the things that was brought up was like, people are tired of Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn has become kind of annoying Jersey accent Deadpool. And it's inevitable that they overpushed Harley Quinn, and now she just doesn't have the same kind of power that the character might have had. And I was reminded of the fact that this, Deadpool went through the same thing. They definitely overdid it with Deadpool and kind of killed off a lot of the interest in that character, and then it rebuilt back up again. So maybe Harley Quinn will get another chance. Anyway, sorry, I digress. So Tom Taylor basically says this: I've spent the last 2 years creating a new epic fantasy universe for DC Comics, and Dark Knights of Steel is an absolute dream come true. Despite being the writer on the DC horror series Deceased, I'm actually a huge fantasy fan. Combining two of my favorite things, DC superheroes and high fantasy, is an absolute happy place. I grew up reading Lord of the Rings alongside Superman, Terry Pratchett alongside Garth Ennis, Robin Hobb and Mark Waid, Dragonlance and Justice League. That's an interesting one. Anyway, now I get to bring all this together with the incredible Yasmin Putri in the biggest story I can imagine: tale of war and love, despair and hope, betrayal and improbable alliances forged in battle. All new origins for Batman and Superman, for Harley Quinn and Black Lightning, and undoubtedly a large handful of Easter eggs of the DC universe. So, hey, good for Tom Taylor. It is. I just can't. I find it very funny that we're getting two series that are really going to run at the same time at both companies, both by Tom Taylor, both involving basically the world is not quite as we know it, and things are kind of a more medieval feel. So it's cool. I wonder if the rejected story notes from one go into the other. I mean, just why not, right? I mean, it's you save all that up. I also I watched Game of Thrones, and it was enjoyable, and that whole series. I have nothing against everything that went on there, and even though the ending was kind of goofy and bad, it still it was enjoyable TV. But it feels like a lot of Game of Thrones type stuff is kind of being rolled out, and I'm not quite certain if the interest is there. You got this Amazon Lord of the Rings series that's going to be out. Like, are people clamoring for this, or is it going to feel like, are we going to forever be saying, hey, we've got something like Game of Thrones? That's the challenge that I have, is that it feels like we're a bit stuck in this whole genre a bit forever. But I don't, we'll see. Hopefully a good story. The other bit of news, and we've been talking about Substack and creators joining. Well, we have another creator today. It's Chip Zdarsky. Chip Zdarsky is going to be joining Substack and getting a number of comics out there. We do not have he's not mentioning anything about ending his other work. He's not walking away from some of the projects that he's on. In theory, he's going to keep working on different things. So it's, his work looks a little bit different. Still the same kind of $7 I believe, price tag for subscribing to Chip Zdarsky. And again, a lot of people have been struggling with what is Substack and what exactly is going on there in terms of pricing. And they keep thinking it's like Netflix, where you're going to pay a fee and then get access to everything, but it's not. Substack is kind of the person behind the scenes. This is like subscribing to a fan club. You're subscribing to the James Tinian or the Scott Snyder or the Chip Zdarsky or the Scotty Young, or whatever it happens to be, the Jonathan Hickman fan club. And for your cash, you're subscribing to a person. They're going to give you things. And the things are, this is where I think it struggles a little bit, because if you're coming for the, say, Jonathan Hickman experience, you're going to get the Jonathan Hickman experience that is not already owned by Marvel, DC, Image, or somebody else. And so you're not like suddenly going to get access to a bunch of his stuff. James Tinian is somewhat blurring the lines a little bit by saying one of the things he's going to do on his Substack is tell you the secret story of his original Batman plans and what went on with, 5G and G5 and all this kind of stuff. And that's a draw. It'll be a good story that will be told. The challenge there is within 2 hours of him posting this, all the news sites are going to take all the headlines and the summaries and they're going to put it out there for you. So I still think there's a little bit of a challenge of how to get people subscribed. But anyway, Chip Zdarsky is going to be bringing back, some of his various things. He's got this Image title, Captara, that is going to bring it back as part of this. And he's writing a new series called Public Domain, which is a book about a family of comic creators as they deal with the ups and downs of the industry, and their original creation has taken over the world for better or worse. The bad guy in the book is a piece of shit comic book artist named Brian Stegman. That's okay. It's a little irreverence from Zdarsky, but regardless, he is the newest name on Substack. Meanwhile, one of the most entertaining shows with all of this are the people who are jealous of the creators getting big deals on Substack, which has turned out to be quite an interesting show in and of itself. There is kind of raging debates over on Twitter. Now, here's the thing that I'm just not getting, because the current kind of theme, the current anger towards Substack is that some of the creators who are doing things on Substack are supposedly putting out anti-trans views. Now, anti-trans views tends to be an extremely wide umbrella, where even if you say something very benign, it can be quickly labeled as anti-trans. That's a very big catch-all term right now. But people are saying, I refuse, I won't support a platform that has people like that on it. Here's the crazy part. You're posting to Twitter, which has the same people on that platform. I think Glenn Greenwald is one of the people that a lot of folks are objecting to on Substack. But Glenn has an account on Twitter as well and posts there. So if you're posting to Twitter that you object to this platform that also contains people who have anti-trans views, you're posting that on a platform that also has people who have anti-trans views. So what are you even doing? I mean, unfortunately, all this sounds like is a bunch of people who are upset that they did not get a deal like the other people who got a deal. But what do I know? I'm crazy. Anyway, let me know if you're interested in Tom Taylor's new stuff, Dark Knights of Steel or Dark Ages from Marvel, Chip Zdarsky's work on Substack. Let me know in the comments below. And hey, thanks for listening.